Jim Robinson.
Dennis Curley. Yay! When a friend, or when I blew the first word. Some of you were comped. I told a friend that the topic of tonight's storytelling event was favorite. She said, "Oh, I bet you're going to complain in public that you weren't your parents' favorite child." As if I'd do that. Can you imagine how uncomfortable that would be for the audience? Trapped between a plate of nachos and my frustrated psychological needs? No. Funny as that premise might be, I'm not going to gripe about how my father clearly preferred my identical twin brother to me. How my sister, the only girl in a gaggle of boys, was the apple of his eye. I think that topic is more suited for a one-man fringe show at the Rarick Thrust or a McKnight Fellowship in Textiles and Natural Dyes. Instead, I'm going to share something much more universal, something the audience can embrace with both arms and a deep intake of breath. But look at me. Don't talk about what you're going to do, Jim. Just do it. This is a story about my favorite sexual position. Now, my father, who preferred my twin brother, was a Dale Carnegie instructor, and he always said to me, "Know your audience, James." Good point, Dad. So I'm going to need a volunteer. Show, don't tell. So, I don't know you, do I? No. Would you stand up, please? No. Yeah, just for. So you just stand up. Thank you so much. What is your name?
My name is Matt.
Hey, Matt. Wow. Hey, you don't have to come up here. This is my story, Matt. Yeah, but I understand the desire to come up here because it's so easy. Anyway, you know what, Matt, you're taller than I thought. We'll make this work, okay? Maybe a metaphor will work. Now, I want you to pretend that you're on a toboggan, okay? So if you do that for me, just do something, please. That is more. Have you heard this before? Because that's the whole fucking story, man. You know what? No, now you're in a sarcophagus. You know what? I don't know how to help you. Take your elbow and put it on your forehead, and then if you point it toward my... You know what? Have a seat, Matt. I am sorry. I'm a bit distracted. The weirdest thing happened the other day, and I'm having trouble focusing on the moment. A high school friend of mine took the opportunity on social media to call me unhinged. The door that was dangling wide open, and there was nothing but boxer briefs and half-consumed Pringles canisters strewn across the ottoman. Me. He was talking about me. Like, you know, me. I always eat all the Pringles in one setting, and I don't wear boxer briefs because they bunch, and that makes me feel like a little baby elephant whose trunk can't reach the ripest mangoes. You know what I mean? Thank you. That was just the beginning of his public assault. You know, he went on to say that I was despicable, only he capitalized the word for no discernible reason right in the middle of the sentence, and then, as if to drive his unclear point home, he replaced the E with an I. He took Latin in high school. E pluribus oops. And all because I made an observation about our current president's disgraceful stance on deporting people who have lived their entire lives in this democracy, and that's the correct way to use prefixes. So veni vidi vici, Carl, which may or may not be your nom de guerre, and that's French. I'm so angry. But you want to know the weirdest thing?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's not a rhetorical question. Do you want? Yes, thank you so much. I tend to hear what I want to hear, so I'll just plow on ahead. I felt liberated frustrated by this public shaming. I promise I'll get back to describing my favorite sexual position in just a second, but I'm sure my liberation felt like the rush that people describe when they're whitewater rafting or taking an hallucinatory drug. But I don't whitewater raft. You get all wet, and what if one of my Crocs got swept away? I worry that hallucinogens might interfere with a concise linear flow. Although I do like that song White Rabbit, where Grace Slick condenses Lewis Carroll like in those old Reader's Digest stories you'd read at the dentist because you didn't have the time or, let's be honest, the inclination to digest the entire story. You were tired of being shamed by Highlights magazine with the insufferable Goofus and Gallant, who I'm sure was gay and was his father's second favorite, if that. This collage of references might be lost on anyone under 50, but I can't control everything and still be happy. A friend once told me that I wasn't ontologically secure enough to take drugs. Like I didn't know myself well enough to withstand a six-pack or heroin. He never mentioned whitewater rafting. No, this friend wasn't Carl, who is a real person but isn't a real friend despite his constructive criticism. I don't like beer. It tastes like soap. The first time I had real sex, like the mango and elephant kind, was also the first time I had alcohol and recreational marijuana, which may have been laced with the government-applied toxic herbicide paraquat. And that made me feel like a white rabbit, all cuddly, but also so shivery that I felt like I had a vestigial tail. I know this isn't an uncommon experience for virgins, but how do you define virginity when its loss hardly mattered because marriage wouldn't be legal for the likes of me for like another 35 years, Digest that, Eve Ensler. Somebody got it, yeah. And even though the marijuana made it feel like time had stopped forever and I knew I would be better served ontologically speaking in the emergency room, I liked sex. Until I became an unhinged and despicable middle-aged man, it was one of my favorite things, along with vegetarian tamales and Emmylou Harris. It felt good to be unhinged. That door had been firmly shut for a long time, and now suddenly it was propped open like a Pringles canister or a clam. You can only live in fear for so long, and while I can't overstate the terror of being found out, it was such a relief to be in that darkened bedroom, visible to one other person, like through a telescope inverted with all the insanity of the outside world condensed into a single point of light. Look, I get it. We all want to protect our place of refuge. I knew this guy once who looked me in the face and said, "Be careful with whom you merge." Since this is a story, you probably want something to help you visualize that interaction. The guy was tall, I think, like you, Matt. Anyway, that bit of advice sounds like a lesson you might actually learn in Highlights magazine. Like from that bourgeois family of creepy bears, the ones who wore aprons and pocket watches and didn't disembowel other woodland creatures for food, Always keep the wolves out of your den unless you're all blitzed on pot. That will be like everyone's hibernating. That advice seems wise to me, even though my index finger kept liking Carl's Facebook postings about our hometown, which was hardly a place of refuge for me, given that my favorite sexual position involves men and stuff. I do like bears. You're a good sport. Are you with him? All right. Anyway. But then Carl went and unfriended me. We unmerged. He made me the other rather than confront the fact that Goofus and Gallant are really just warring fragments of the same person. That we're all both Goofus and Gallant, struggling to assert our best selves despite our Goofus natures. And the one that will win the war, the one who will shape our imaginations and inhabit our souls, is the one that we feed. I appropriated that from a Native American legend. As a white man, that's kind of despicable, so maybe Carl has a point, but still. If we keep ricocheting back and forth between the profane and the sacred, between Goofus and Gallant, then we'll end up either like our pussy-grabbing kleptocratic president, or Mike Pence, who seems to personify the verb to clench. So that's my story. Carl's not a wolf, and I am ontologically unhinged. Like I said, it felt liberating to be called out for what I am. Carl also said that I had helped him become more certain in his support for the man who is now our president. Shoot. That feels like collateral damage. But Carl, if you're going to continue to support a president who uses his power to demonize refugees, diminish women, destroy the environment, deny climate change, denude our forests, defund the arts, deregulate polluters, dismantle civil rights, defraud students, deride academics, devoce our educational system, deride in ignorance, defactualize facts, disrespect disabled people, dishonor President Obama, deceive your supporters, denigrate our allies, and desecrate our institutions, then Carl, you can go fuck yourself. Which is something I won't do because that's not my favorite sexual position. And you'd know that if you've been paying attention.